Okay, so you want to write a novel, but you're struggling. Maybe you got partway through the book and you quit, or maybe you were just so overwhelmed you didn't know where to start. So, if you're struggling to write a novel, you've come to the right place. I'm Michelle A. Hanson, and today I'm going to talk to you about 6 simple steps you can take to go from idea to finished book. Welcome. Welcome to my home. I'm actually broadcasting from my living room today. I love this room. I love the bright light, and I've got a fireplace. My mom's antique secretary is over here in the corner, and this is where I sit with my laptop and I write. So, today I'm going to talk about these steps. Now, the problem with us writers is that when we struggle, we don't automatically say, I'm just missing a piece of the process. We don't say, if I can just figure out this one piece of the book, everything will be fine. We tend to jump right into the self-loathing, like, oh, I just don't have the talent. I'm never going to be able to do this. Why did I think I could write a novel? And that's not the problem, okay? So I want to first of all tell you, if you want to write a novel, you absolutely can. You do have the talent. You can write a great book, but you do need a system to help you get from point A to point B. And a lot of times, if you ask great writers, how do you write amazing books? They give really unhelpful advice like, well, you just have to learn to write from your heart and it resonates with the reader. Or I just write honestly and it resonates with the reader and readers love it. And that's true, but if you don't have a fundamental understanding of the structure of a compelling novel, honest writing is only going to get you so far. And so that's why breaking it down into a system really helps. So I know, because most of us start out as closet writers, we tend to go it alone. We don't want to tell anybody we're writing a novel. We don't want to ask for help because we're not telling anybody. We're just doing it on the side and we're going to see how it goes. And what happened to me is that I wasted years writing badly because I was a good writer, but I wasn't a good novelist. There were fundamental pieces I was missing, and I didn't understand why I wasn't being successful. And so you may have done this too, and you may have spent thousands of dollars going to writers' conferences and paying for critiques and trying to figure it out on your own. But today I'm going to give you these simple steps to break down the process to help you get from idea to finished much easier. Okay, so the first thing is that you need to learn to pre-write like a rock star. And I'm not just talking about hashing out an outline. There are some really important things that you need to know before you go into the story. No one ever told me to consider the sales hook before I wrote a book. And that would be the number one thing I would have you do. Sit down and write your hook. Write a 2-sentence pitch for this book. And here's why. Because if you don't have a good hook, the book won't get read. It won't get read by an agent. It won't get read by an editor. It won't get read by a reader on Amazon who's just scanning the book description. It takes just as much time to write a book with a great hook as it does to write a book with no hook. And it's much easier to edit a 2-sentence hook than it is to edit a 300-page novel. So take some time and just write a little pitch for your book. And then after you've done that, you need a really strong understanding of your protagonist. You need to know the fundamental things. And I'm not talking about how tall they are and what color their eyes are and what kind of breakfast cereal they like. I'm talking about, what do they lack? What do they need? What is their goal? And what are they willing to do to get to that goal? Those are the important things that you need to know. A lot of times we know a great deal about protagonists, but we don't understand their motivation. And if you write a book before you understand the protagonist's motivation, you're not going to get very far. So a great story doesn't just happen. It's set up on page 1. So if you don't do the pre-writing and you don't know, you can't set it up on page 1. So that's the next thing. And then you also need, before you begin in your pre-writing, you need a setting that you can really leverage for conflict. And so you need a setting that lends itself to conflict and is going to help you build the conflict. So then step number 2, you need to learn a plotting system that works for you, and you need to use it. Now, there isn't a one-size-fits-all system out there. I use a hybrid of systems. I use the hero's journey and I use the 3-act structure. Some people use the 7-point plot structure. There are many different systems out there. the point is that you need to figure out what will work for you in plotting the book and then do it. In addition to these 3 systems, I do several other plotting tools. I do kind of a calendaring and timelines and all kinds of different things so you can plot out the book, get as much down on paper before you actually start writing. And then number 3 is that you need to know where not to begin. Agents and editors have a long list of cliches and pet peeves about beginnings. And if you start your book in the wrong place, again, it won't get read. And also, if you have set up your motivations and you've set up your plotting correctly, and you have a really strong understanding of where your story is going to go before you begin writing, you will see a definite place where it should begin. So you'll learn where not to begin, but then you also need to know, you'll be able to recognize where to begin. And then step number 4 is that you need to commit to a writing schedule. You need to commit to write. It doesn't matter how you do it. You can do a page count or a word count every day, or you can just do a time limit. I'm going to write for 30 minutes a day. You can say, it doesn't matter how much I write every day, I'm just going to write something. I can write one amazing sentence today. Whatever it takes, but you have to commit to writing. And that's the only way you're going to get it written. And in the writing game, consistency wins out every time. So those people who write a little each day over the long haul are going to produce more than those who write fast and furious for short periods of time. So think of that when you get frustrated, just write a little bit. And writing a little bit every day is going to get you farther. Number 5 is that you have to learn to overcome writer's block. So that's the 5th step. Learning to overcome writer's block is one of the steps in the journey. This is a universal problem. Writer's block affects writers from professionals to amateurs. The difference is that professionals know how to deal with it and amateurs give into it. And so you need, if you're on my email list, watch in the next couple of days. I'm going to do an entire live webinar on writer's block, and we're going to talk about how you overcome it, and I'm going to give you strategies on how to overcome writer's block. 10 strategies you can use to overcome writer's block. And then the last thing, the 6th step in the process, is that you have to commit to finish. And what I mean by that is a lot of people start projects and they have trouble finishing them, or they get frustrated, like they don't know where to finish, and so they stop and then allow themselves to start a new project. So when I say commit to finish, I mean I am not going to start writing this book until it is done, and I won't write anything else until this book is done. And if you can make that kind of a commitment to your novel, this novel will get finished, and that's really the best way. The most detrimental thing to your writing is to write 3 chapters in a book, quit, write 3 chapters in a new book, quit, write 3 chapters in yet another book, and quit. So if you can say, I'm not going to stop until this book is finished, you'll get to the end. And so that's what I have for you today. Thanks for joining me. 6 simple steps. Let's review what they are. Pre-write like a rock star. Number 2, find a plotting system that works for you. Number 3, learn where not to begin. Number 4, commit to a writing schedule. Number 5, overcome writer's block. And number 6, commit to finish. Okay, watch your inbox for another video I have for you tomorrow, and for that webinar where we will overcome writer's block. Till next time, see ya.